welcome to SVG-TV's news for Friday, July the 24th, 2020. I am Bob Northwell with the details. The hurricane watch for SVG has been discontinued. However, a tropical storm warning remains in effect. A watch means hurricane or tropical storm conditions are possible within 48 hours. A warning means those conditions are expected in the next 36 hours. The local Met Services said as of 5 p.m., Tropical Storm Gonzalo was located near 5.56 degrees west, or about 390 miles east of the southern Windward Islands. Maximum sustained winds have decreased to near 40 miles per hour. With the highest gusts, Gonzalo is said to be moving westward at 18 miles per hour, with a minimum central pressure of 1,008 millibars. The Met Services said tonight moderate to heavy showers and scattered thunderstorms will spread across SVG. Residents and motorists in areas prone to flooding and landslides over and near rivers and streams are asked to be on alert. These conditions are expected to be experienced up to tomorrow morning, with further deterioration by late Saturday, with torrential rain, thunderstorm, and near storm force winds of up to 50 miles per hour during Saturday night across SVG, but more so in the Grenadines. According to the Met Services, rainfall accumulation of 3 to 4 inches with higher amounts in mountainous areas are expected by Sunday morning and could result in life-threatening flash floods in low-lying areas. Tropical Storm Gonzalo is likely to generate rough sea swells during its passage. A small craft advisory is in effect for later this evening into Saturday. Fisheries are asked to stay tuned to their local radio station for further advisories that will be issued by the Meteorology Office. The Fisheries Division is requesting that the necessary precautionary measures be taken to secure life and properties during the passage of Tropical Storm Gonzalo. All residents are urged to make all the necessary precautions for the approach of the impact of Gonzalo. And due to the passing of Tropical Storm Gonzalo, all operations at the Argyle International Airport will be closed from 6 a.m. on Saturday, July 25th, 2020. In a news release, the AIA Chief Executive Officer, Corsell Robertson, said the airport's scheduled flights will be interrupted until further notice is given by the National Emergency Management Organization, NEMO. The release said a further update will be released regarding the reopening of the airport. Meanwhile, members of BRACSA have been put on standby for the next 78 hours. This comes on the heel of an emergency meeting that was called by its management in preparation for Gonzalo. As part of the first responders team, BRACSA will be responsible for the clearing of roads and the cleaning of drains island-wide. All essential workers of BRACSA have been placed on alert. The UK government has today added St. Vincent and the Grenadines along with 4 other countries to the list of travel corridors after reviewing the latest risk assessments. This means passengers from SVG do not need to self-isolate when arriving in England. The changes will take effect in England from Tuesday, 28th of July 2020, come as the government urges passengers to continue to protect themselves when considering traveling abroad by making sure they are up to date on the latest information, both at home and at their destination. All travelers, including those from exempt destinations, will still be required to complete a passenger locator form on the arrival into the UK. The UK board health measures remain subject to review every 28 days. Remain positive. That's the advice from psychologist and Chief Executive Officer of the Value Experience, Dr. Giselle Miller, who was speaking with SVG-TV News on how persons can maintain a positive frame of mind during this time of COVID-19. Dr. Miller said many Vincentians have shown their resilience and innovation and encourage all to focus on their strength to get them through the difficult time.
You know exactly what you have within you, and sometimes we don't look at ourselves as a resource, and we are our biggest resource, meaning that you have to tap into your strengths, tap into those things that you have that you can use as an asset. Earlier this year, when persons would have heard that we needed masks and the shelves were out, persons went, they got creative, and we had a lot of persons came forward and they started making masks. It says therefore that when persons are against the wall, when we are down to the grind, there's a resiliency that comes out of us as human beings. We have to tap into that. We have to be proactive in our approach. We have to keep listening to the news, yes, to be aware as to what is going on in terms of the developments, but at the same time, do not shy away from pushing forward in terms of what your initial goals were. Stay focused, stay committed, stay consistent, and where necessary, obviously you have to seek help. If there are things that are outside of your scope in terms of what you can achieve on your own, seek help, find persons who can assist. And I say to persons, in these times it is so important for us to collaborate, cooperate with each other so that we can help each other along these difficult times.
The global COVID-19 pandemic also brought with it economic hardship, with many persons becoming unemployed. Dr. Miller said while she understands the frustration, it is not the end of the world, noting that there are some things persons can do to earn a living.
Motion out, but don't stay there. Pick yourself up, regroup, reframe. It means for some families you have to pull everybody together, consolidate. What do we have? What are the assets we have that we can use going forward in the next 6 to 8 months? Start thinking in terms of, we had one breadwinner. How can we change that going forward? Because sometimes one family depends on one person when there are other persons who could also share some of that burden financially. So you have to start rethinking, reprocessing. You have to get children to understand that sometimes a lot of the privileges we had before, we have to shelf it. It doesn't mean that mommy or daddy love you any less, but you can't afford certain things right now. So it's about prioritizing, it's about budgeting, and it is accepting the new normal.
The psychologist said while persons may be feeling a sense of despair, they should avoid lashing out.
Some people might gravitate towards being angry, and you display your anger by speaking against your company, your managers, whatever. That is something I have to hasten to tell persons, shy away from that response, because oftentimes when we respond based on our feeling and we are feeling hurt, so we want to lash out, be mindful that going forward you still have to approach other managers for jobs. You still have to approach different companies. So if it is you go on social media, for instance, and you want to lash out and lambaste, please note that there are also HR managers who are looking. There are also other managers who are looking. So when your application shows up, then it's a question mark. Do I want this person on my team? So we still have to be very, very careful and mindful that as much as we are feeling the pain and the hurt of whatever is going on, act responsibly.
With Sandals taking over the Bocamet Bay Resort, executives of the international resort brand have outlined a number of long-term benefits for prospective employees, as well as marketing SVG internationally under one of its brand. Deputy Chair of Sandals Resorts International, Adam Stewart, briefed Cabinet on what can be expected once they begin operation. He said that the marketing strategy used by Sandals promotes all Sandals destinations from which SVG will now benefit.
So we believe that seniors believe in so much, and we will charter planes and bring them into the Caribbean. Sometimes we'll do island hops. They'll come in Miami, New York, Atlanta, Philadelphia, and they'll go Antigua, spend the night, hop over. They'll jump over to Grenada. On the way back out, they'll pass through the Bahamas. So some days are 1 day, some days are 3 day. But every hotelier is telling you their hotel is the best hotel in the world. So the difference in Sandals Resorts International is that we will actually spend the money at our cost to bring them here. And then of course when they go back to their marketplace, you see the numbers just rise and soar. We use a lot of digital, particularly in the last 4 months. We've been training thousands of agents on updates, what's going on, and the use of digital is an important tool for those who can't get there. But it's not a replacement for building relationships and actually getting out and seeing the product. But it's something we do very, very heavily.
Stewart said that as part of their corporate responsibility, they give back to countries in which they operate in many ways, such as helping the vulnerable and the development of infrastructural projects.
In 10 years, and 100% of the proceeds go to the islands. Sandals Resorts pays for the overheads. We're just approaching just over $70 million of impact of cash and kind. This is money raised by JetBlue, by American Airlines, by Coca-Cola, by the consumer on property, all of our global partners, which Jordan leads for us, and we will choose things to do like renovating a library, which 30 days ago in Jamaica, we just opened a new one. We will build schools. We will bring down dentists and doctors, give them 20 bedrooms, 30 bedrooms, and in the fall period they will come in here and they will attack the challenges of some of the most egregious challenges that we have on island. You can skip through and we can send this around after just by stats. But the numbers are very powerful. Sesame Street, as an example, gives us every Christmas through Hasbro, the toy company, 2 container loads of toys for orphans in the Caribbean. So that equates to about 20,000 toys that we'll distribute to make sure every kid has a Christmas.
Meanwhile, as it regards to their employees, everyone is said to be given an equal opportunity to develop themselves personally and professionally. Director of Human Resources at Sandals, Jamaica, Ryle Matthew, said that the long-term benefits are encouraging.
Born in the Caribbean, and 90% of the people who work in our wonderful organization are Caribbean nationals. I'm from St. Lucia, and today I'm the Director of Human Resources for Sandals Resorts International in the beautiful island of Jamaica. And we have a number of individuals within our group. We have our General Manager at Sandals Montego Bay, who started as a chef at Sandals Halcyon in St. Lucia. We have our Chief Operations Officer, who started as a management trainee. But that balance to make sure that there's growth and development is strengthened with the infusions of individuals like Mr. Rayner. But Sandals and Vincentians have a relationship already. Because in our company right now, we have over 20 Vincentians who work with Sandals and Beaches Resorts at different levels.
More than 700 Vincentians are expected to be employed with Sandals SVG. In other news, farmers who are preparing bananas for export are being encouraged to utilize various pest control measures to ensure that their crop is pest-free. This advice comes from Agricultural Officer at the Plant Protection and Quarantine Department, Michael Delplesh, as he spoke at the recently held Integrated Weed Management Workshop. Delplesh said the authorities in Barbados have expressed concern over the presence of the pest known as the aphids and highlighted what farmers can do to keep their crop pest-free.
Preparing bananas for export, and not just to Barbados, can use a bleach solution, bleach and some soap, to dip the bananas so that this would kill the aphids. Now you need to apply 2 tablespoons of bleach to a gallon of water. So if you are using 10 gallons in your tub, you need to apply 20 tablespoons of bleach, and you add some squeezy or other dishwashing liquid, and you allow the bananas to soak for about 5 minutes. That's the recommendation from Barbados. And so farmers who are selling to traffickers who are shipping to Barbados need to take this on board.
Pesticides are commonly used here. However, they can have a negative impact on the environment. Delplesh appealed to farmers to use pesticides responsibly.
We don't want to contaminate our waterways, our streams and rivers. So we have to be very careful that we do not dump these empty pesticide containers into our streams and rivers, or spray too close to them, or rinse out these containers, or dispose of excess mixture into the streams and rivers that would really destroy our environment and aquatic life. And of course, storage, very important. We need to make sure that we're storing pesticides in their original containers, and also store under lock and key so that children do not have access to these pesticides.
Persons are being encouraged to resolve their conflicts amicably. At this, as the RSVG police force recorded a number of wounding offenses for the week starting July 17th to the 22nd. The statistics were reported by Sergeant Jules Morgan during the Police Weekly Facebook program last evening.
So residents throughout St. Vincent and the Grenadines are asked to be vigilant and careful with their personal property, and to employ better conflict resolution when dealing with disputes. Reports of theft in that particular area, and the police are asking persons to be in the alert that some livestock were recovered, and they at the Calico police station, and persons are asked to bring along proof to claim their belongings.
Sergeant Morgan made a special appeal to persons in the Grenadines to comply with the law, especially as it relates to adhering to COVID-19 protocols, and asked that they report any illegal entry on the islands.
Persons were observed not adhering to the stipulation in place governing permission to play music, that's amplified music, at events. Even runners are asked to take note that there must be screening done to persons entering their establishment, and a contact information must be collected. The necessary security at these events must also be in place. Residents are asked to be vigilant and report any person who may have entered the country illegally.
The police sergeant is also appealing to persons who have derelict vehicles on roads to have them removed, as they could face a charge.
That notices has been given to remove derelict vehicles are likely to affect the free flow of traffic on the roads across St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The officers at the traffic department stated that someone living in the vicinity of Lomans Hill has been arrested on charge and taken before the court for not adhering to this protocol. So that person did not remove his vehicle. He was found guilty and fined $800 forthwith. Or if not, he would be in prison for a period of 3 months.
Morgan again emphasized the need for persons to be on the lookout for online scammers, which is reportedly on the increase in SVG. Minister of Foreign Affairs Sir Louis Straker has commended Taiwan for its continued support to SVG in health and other areas of development. Speaking on a radio program this week, Sir Louis said what bothers him the most is that the opposition New Democratic Party, the NDP, has had a part in its plan on assuming office to cut ties with Taiwan.
It bothers me, and I intend to campaign on it, that the NDP has as part of their plan that if they were to get in power, they would kick Taiwan out of this country. After Taiwan has spent hundreds of millions of dollars, including with the hotel that is coming at Mount Tweed, that they would say that they would kick Taiwan out of this country here, despite what it has done. But we are grateful for the relationship that we have made and we are maintaining with Taiwan, that anything we need, even the PCR machines, anything in health, Taiwan is there to help us. And we pray that our relationship would go from strength to strength and that the ULP would get back in power so that we can maintain that relationship with Taiwan and not have the NDP kick Taiwan, send them out of this country.
The ruling Unity Labour Party's prospective candidate in the upcoming elections for the Central Leeward constituency, Dr. Urani Brewster, said that he is coming to the people with new ideas and a heart for progress. Brewster said the people of Central Leeward can expect quality and consistent representation from him once given a chance to represent them in Parliament.
A man with a heart for people. A man with a passion to see persons in the constituency and this country do well. A man who's going to bring policies to the table, who's going to be a voice for Central Leeward, who's going to put forward policies that this government can run with. I'm not here for my pockets, Gussie, because, as you said before, I have a doctorate. I can go and buy myself a big Jeep, roll my windows up, and drive straight and hold my head straight. But I don't think that is what the Lord would want me to do in this scenario. I am a born-again believer. I am a man who believes in love. I'm a man who believes in doing good.
Brewster said politics is not a game, but is about dealing with real people and real issues, and that he has great things in store for the youth elderly, poor, and vulnerable.
And I know going forward for 2020, Central Leeward has great things in store for every aspect of demographic within that constituency. For the elderly, we're going to continue on what we're doing to make sure that we take care of the elderly, the poor, the vulnerable. And for the youths, we have to start preparing the way now. 3 hotels coming on stream, we're talking about jobs, you know, the blackfish processing plant in Barley. Healthcare is going to be up in Central Leeward as well with the new smart clinic coming in Barley. So things are happening in Central Leeward. But we have to continue the work. The work is not finished yet. And I'm happy that Sir Louis has found it fit to call up a young man.
Serve the people of East Kingston well with integrity and professionalism. That's the advice from Arnim Eustace to Fitz Bramble, who will be replacing him on the NDP ticket for the East Kingston constituency in the upcoming general elections. At NDP's virtual meeting last evening, an emotional Eustace said that East Kingston has stood with him and the New Democratic Party for the last 22 years, and it is now left up to Bramble to carry on the mantle and keep the constituency in the NDP column.
And who have selflessly worked with the NDP to serve to East Kingston, to show them that they deserve more. To open East Kingston's eyes to the possibility of the self-actualization. The NDP supporters of East Kingston have handed you this mantle, Mr. Bramble. Take it up with humility. You are to be the people's servant. Take up this mantle with integrity. You are to be an exemplar. Take up this mantle as a meritocrat. To initiate development and facilitate development for all, according to ability. Take this mantle with respect for your office. You are never, I repeat, never, to abuse it.
Eustace told Bramble the East Kingston Party office means nothing if the people are not involved in the planning process to take the constituency forward.
Bramble, the story is for you now. People will watch you now. They'll watch how you behave, how you treat other people, how you relate to them as individuals. They're not concerned about where your office is, how you relate to them as these Kingston people. Don't ever, ever forget that. There's one piece of advice I give you tonight. As the person who replaced me in East Kingston, don't ever forget that day-to-day contact with people in Roseau and other places, Walborough and so, in the constituency. That is dynamite. You play with it, and they can blow up. Just make sure they understand that you mean the best for them at all times.
Noting that his time is up for active politics, Eustace expressed thanks to the people of East Kingston for their support over the years and implored Bramble to serve the people well.
But it's a very important task to represent people. Very important. Represent their interests, all their interests, you know, not some, including those you don't agree with. You tell them no, I can't do that. They're right. I can't do it. When they respect you, you will serve for a very, very long time. I don't wish you to serve as long as me, though. I thank you.
Bramble thanks Eustace for his support and said he is ready for the challenge. As it regards to his plans for the constituency, Bramble said that the East Kingston has been neglected for years under the present administration, and he will be working to have the constituency developed to its fullest potential.
Sion Hill Junction as a modern entrance point into the city with increased business activities. Refurbish and upgrade the Rockies Community Center to a modern facility to include adult education programs. Build a modern center of excellence or generation center that would bring together young people and seniors to bridge that generation gap through socializing, teaching, and learning. So, for example, a grandmother can take her granddaughter to that center and teach her to knit. That granddaughter can teach the grandmother how to find YouTube.
Bramble said his approach is all about cooperation and building community spirit to enhance East Kingstown.
Establish and support an entrepreneurial business incubator. Encourage and support the establishment and operation of community cooperatives. I'm big on that, by the way. Local government and community cooperatives. That is how you empower people. That is how people maintain their power. And it is important that people maintain their power because the power of the people is more powerful than the people in power. Think about that. The power of the people is more powerful than the people in power. I don't want my constituents to come to my ministry every Monday morning telling me to come fix a drain. We will empower the people in the constituency to do that themselves without having to come and knock on a minister's door.
Other plans outlined by Bramble for East Kingstown are to establish a state-of-the-art sports facility and a recreational park at Sion Hill Bay.